And welcome back to the Popcorn Conspiracy on CentralCoastRadio.com. Now, I want to take a look at one of the more serious films that is out in cinemas right now. This film is called Linoleum, and it comes from director-writer Colin West. And this is one of those movies that is only showing in select cinemas, but it is one of those movies that is well worth hunting down. It basically centers around a character called Cameron, played by Jim Gaffigan, and he is a failed scientist. He was a promising young scientist, but now he finds himself never having been able to get into NASA like he wanted to, and instead finds himself hosting a kids' science show that is on at midnight. It doesn't have an audience really, and despite promises from the studio manager, it doesn't look like the show is ever going to make it to prime time. His wife, Erin, played by Rhea Seehorn, is absolutely sick and tired of the way that their lives have gone, and she has told him that she is divorcing him, something that has been kept secret from their daughter, Nora, played by Caitlin Nacon, and their son. Now, this is where this film gets really, really interesting, because as you're watching this film, strange things start to happen. One day, Cameron is outside his house, and all of a sudden, a car falls from the sky. The man who's rescued from the car by paramedics and Cameron himself looks a lot like Cameron. And then for the next few days, everywhere Cameron goes, he sees people that look like him. It starts to become really, really unnerving, and what makes it even worse is that it's not just him seeing it. Other people are seeing it as well. At one point in this film, he turns to his wife and daughter and says, are you seeing this? Are you seeing how much this guy looks like me? And they turn around and say yes. Now, this film is a very, very interesting film, because it is one of those movies that when you sit down to watch it, you'll suddenly start having questions. When characters like Mark, played by Gabriel Rush, come into the film, you instantly start having questions, especially when Nora, the daughter who Mark is interested in, starts telling him that no, she's gay and she's not interested in him, but you can tell that she's got a crush on him from the first moment that she sees him. That's where this interesting thing starts to happen. I found myself, when I was watching this film, there was something in the back of my mind the entire time telling me this is not exactly what you think it is. And I was trying to shut that off when I was watching it. I was thinking, no, just sit back and enjoy this screenplay. It's an interesting screenplay by Colin West. Sit back and enjoy it. But I just kept on finding myself thinking that there's something about this film that's just not right. There's something I'm not seeing. Then there is a huge ending to this film where all of the film's secrets are revealed. And that's when I realized that Colin West is a little bit of a genius when it comes to filmmaking, because he's basically made a movie that practically lies to you for the entire time. And once those things start to reveal themselves, you start to see this film in a completely different light. There's a lot of things in there that when you start to unpack it and you realize what has actually happened, you start to think a lot about your own life. This is a film about people never reaching their full potential and going for it when those opportunities strike. There's a beautiful sequence in this film where the lead character, realizing that he never got into space, when this piece of space junk falls into his backyard, he starts to think, well, maybe I can turn this into a rocket and maybe I can go into space. But this is a beautiful film. Once you realize what you've been watching, as you've been watching the film all the way through, you start to realize what a beautiful film this is. And I'm sure this is going to be a film that over the years, people start to realize that it's going to become a cult classic. There's so much about this film that once you know what is going on and you start to unpack it, you realize this is a cult classic. Jim Gaffigan's acting in this film is absolutely amazing. So is Caitlin Nacon's acting. You really, really hope that they get more acting roles as a result of this film, because it's one of those scripts that just allows them to put in some really, really good performances. So if you want to go out there and explore like a little indie film with a little bit of a difference, go out and hunt down Linoleum. Find the local cinema that's showing it near you and go and watch it, because this is a very, very interesting film. And I'm sure this is going to be one of those films that once it's gone out of cinemas, people are going to start to talk about it, and you're going to wish that you'd seen it in cinemas, because I am pretty convinced this is going to become a cult classic. I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. It is a little bit of an observist film, so be prepared for that. But go and check out Linoleum. I'm giving it 3.5 out of 5.